Hey guys, Keith Engel for TGI Sports Talk. I haven't got a vlog out this week sooner. I apologize. Um, been busy trying to get my thoughts together for this particular vlog. I want to talk about Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody knows, well, not all of you know, but I'm a lifelong, basically, New England Patriot fan. See by my shirt. Suffered through some bad times as a season ticket holder in the 80s, couple good years. So not a Johnny come lately when it comes to being a fan of the Patriots. And this is not in any way related to the fact that Tom Brady is no longer a New England Patriot. What I will say is when Tom had decided to move on, I was fine. Time to start a new era. We had 20 great years that'll never, ever be repeated. And a lot of it was due to Tom Brady. Not all of it was due to Tom Brady. His collaboration with Bill Belichick is what led to those 6 Super Bowls in 20 years and just an unprecedented run of missing the playoffs twice in 2 years, once with 11 wins, another time with 10 wins. But it's not working out. Tom left because Tom, I think, had something to prove. Tom wanted to prove that he could win without Bill Belichick. I really do believe that. But Tom also wanted to leave because Belichick's way had worn on Tom over 20 years, which it would any relationship, friendship has its ups and downs over 20 years, right? And if there's one person who's got all the leverage in that relationship, then at some point it's going to break. And I think we got to that point. I mean, the ironic part is, though, Tom Brady leaves the Patriots. I'm sure Bill Belichick was glad when Tom left, to be honest with you. I think he was ready to move on a few years back with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that kind of blew up in everybody's face when Bob Kraft kind of forced Bill to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, put all his eggs in Tommy's basket because Tommy wanted to play till he was 45 years old, which he still might. And again, I'm not jumping on Tom Brady. I'm not jumping on anybody here. But when Tom decided to leave, I'm sure he had a pick of teams, but many, many teams were after his services. That's a fact. I'm sure he sat down with Bruce Arians and the Glazers who own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they talked about what the offense was going to look like. At least you would think that would happen. And they gave Tom 2 years at $25 million a year, which the Patriots would not match. And Tom Brady became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Surrounded him with weapons. They already had some great offensive weapons, and Mike Evans, Godwin. They brought in Gronk. They had some really talented running backs. But Bruce Arians and Tom Brady's philosophies through the years of being a championship caliber player year after year in New England don't mesh. Bruce Arians is a fine coach. Bruce Arians kind of thinks he's the smartest guy in the room a lot of times, I think, too. I think the next Super Bowl Bruce Arians wins will be his first. Tom Brady's got 6 rings. A great coach will tailor his offense or his strategies on defense or offense to the team and the players that he has in front of him for that given year or that given week. And that's not happening in Tampa Bay. Bruce Arians' philosophy has always been one of moving the ball down the field, kind of like an Al Davis philosophy, vertical passing game down the field. He's got a catchphrase that is no risk it, no biscuit. Tom Brady's game is not dropping back and throwing the ball down the field over and over and over again. Didn't happen in New England ever. Didn't have those types of weapons. Maybe in 2007 8, 9, when Randy Moss was there, they did more of that because you could throw it up and Randy go catch it. But the New England offenses were not built around throwing the ball, 40 yards down the field time after time. Bruce Arians, that's what he believes in. Tom Brady, not so much. Tom Brady is a keep the clock moving, quick outs, timing patterns, a lot of different things that Bruce Arians doesn't really believe in. They try to tweak it, and now things are becoming really frayed there because they're not meshing. 20 years in one system or different systems in one group of coaches. Coaches came and went, but the head guy was always there. Terminology didn't change. All of these things matter. And now, as Tampa Bay starts to struggle, the two sides are pointing at each other, pointing fingers at each other. Arians campus, the Brady camp is saying, Arians is not playing to Tom's strengths. He's not putting him in a position to succeed. Brady's numbers are not bad, but they're not Tom Brady numbers. The team's now 7-5. Bruce Arians, ironically, for all of Brady's problems with Bill Belichick and hearing him harp in practice for 20 years, Bill Belichick never once called him or any other player out in public. Happens on a weekly basis. It happened in week 1 in Tampa Bay. It's happened many, many weeks since. And Tom's camp is pushing back. Saying, he's not calling the plays. Well, and then Arians says, look at Tommy picks the plays during a week. Tommy can change the plays at the line of scrimmage. So we got a clash of heads here. Two egos, two giant egos. Tom Brady's a great guy, great quarterback. Everything that's right with sports. Never understood why Tom Brady was a hated figure just for his competitiveness and his fire. But Arians has got an ego of his own. Built a self-proclaimed quarterback whisperer. No rings. Great coaches will tailor their approach to what they have. Tom Brady grew up as a football player in a philosophy of, kind of an 8-minute game. There's 8 minutes in the game that are most important. The 4 minutes at the end of the first half, the 4 minutes at the beginning of the second half, especially when you have the ball to kick off that second half. One sequence that really stands out to me is, I believe it was in a Rams game a few weeks ago. They lost. But at the end of the half, they had the ball with about 4 minutes left near midfield, probably at the 50. Now, in years past, with the Patriots, that situation would have called for them to get the clock moving, run the ball, first down, maybe a quick flare to a running back, which is basically a running play. But get the clock moving. You don't want to give them the ball back with a chance to score. You don't want a quick 3 and out. You don't even want to score a touchdown with 4 minutes left necessarily. But here, in this game, first down, long pass down the sideline, incomplete. 2nd and 10. Clock stops. Next play is a pass, an out, I believe, incomplete. Clock stops. 3rd and 10, I think they run the football or threw a short pass. Clock runs, but timeout by the Rams. They've got to kick the ball. The Rams have got the ball back with 3 minutes plus left in the half. Never happens in New England. Never in a philosophy that Tom Brady grew up in would be the way you approach that. You would try to get the first down, run the clock with a minute left. If you're either going to run those 4 minutes off the clock somehow as best you can, or you're going to not even be trying to rush and throw the ball down the field and quickly score until there's about a minute left. Then they're in the hurry up. They're not in a hurry up with 4 minutes left at 50. Your job then is to control the clock, run the clock out, and hopefully score some points. get the ball back in the second half. That's the other part of this. The first 4 minutes of that second half. So instead of the Bucs coming away with 3 points at the end of the half, and then or 7 points at the end of the half, and then 3 points or 7 points at the beginning of the second half, they get none of that. Scored no points on their last possession. They scored no points on their first possession because they came out throwing the ball down the field again. And to me, that's kind of the epitome of what the problem is in Tampa Bay right now. These are two philosophies that are butting heads, and it's not going to get better unless Bruce Arians loosens up his philosophy and thinking he's right and making no adjustments. Now, Tampa Bay fans are probably going to blame Brady. Brady haters are going to blame Brady. Oh, look, he's 43 years old. Oh, he couldn't win without Belichick. Just like people when they were 7-2 or 6-1, whatever they were. And Belichick was struggling along at 2-5. Oh, look, Belichick can't do it without Brady. All nonsense. They needed each other. Belichick molds his offense, his whole philosophy to the talent that he has. Still a work in progress this year. May not work out, may not make the playoffs. But if the Buccaneers don't make the playoffs, if the Buccaneers go in the playoffs and lose the first round, this is a total failure. And you're looking at possibly a new coach and maybe even a new quarterback in Tampa Bay next year. This isn't working. I don't see it ever working because I don't see Bruce Arians changing his philosophy. He hasn't changed it up until now. You know, when he was the offensive coordinator of Pittsburgh and Indianapolis, throw the ball down the field. When he was the interim head coach at Indianapolis, throw the ball down the field. When he got a job with the Cardinals, throw the ball down the field. When he got the head coaching job at Tampa Bay and he had Jameis Winston, throw the ball down the field. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Jameis Winston is not is not Tom Brady. But those 30 interceptions are also a product of the no risk it, no biscuit philosophy. And that's the problem in Tampa Bay. They want to straighten this out. Bruce Arians, Tom Brady have a sit down. Bruce Arians says, Tommy, how do you want to run this? Don't talk about how we brought all these things in for you. You wanted Gronk, we brought him in. You wanted Antonio Brown, we brought him in. You wanted Leonard Fournette, we brought him in. Not helpful, not winning. That's not a winning attitude to have, to start pointing fingers at your starting quarterback when things start to go bad. A starting quarterback with 6 rings. Bruce Arians needs to get it together. He can still do it. They're 7-5. Still time to right the ship here. I don't think their schedule is that tough to finish the season. Time to get it together, Bruce. You want to lose Tommy? You want to lose your locker room? You're getting close to doing it, and you may lose your job if you don't get smart soon. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a professional football coach. I don't get paid except to watch. I don't even get paid to offer my opinion. I'm giving it to you free. Am I right? Maybe not. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I've watched enough of Tampa Bay this year to know that things aren't right. Tommy's not carrying himself the same way he carried himself in New England. He's taken a lot of heat for it. Maybe some of it rightly so. But to me, more blame goes to Bruce Arians. He's got the greatest quarterback in the history of football, and he's not using him correctly. And that's a shame. It's a shame for the Tampa Bay franchise. It's a shame for the fans. It's a shame for Tom Brady. Tom Brady should have retired as a Patriot. If he didn't want to play anymore, he should have retired. I know why he didn't. His competitive desire is off the charts. I love Tom Brady's game. I love the way he's carried himself for the last 20-plus years. And I will always be a Tom Brady fan. But this is not going to end well if something doesn't change pretty quickly in Tampa Bay. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. Leave me a message. Let me know what you think. You think I'm crazy? Tell me. You think I don't know what I'm talking about? Tell me. If you agree, you can tell me that too. I hope to talk to you soon. I'll see you Sunday. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk, out.